DeLeon here, developer of iPhone and iPad games, including iZombie Death March,
Published by Sonic Boom.
Topple,
Published by IndieCade.
Burn It, Laser Reflect, Alice in Bomberland,
Published by Sonic Boom.
Tumult, Games That Blow,
Published by Sonic Boom.
Feel For It, and Transcend. My other major work is the Interaction Artist series. I made an experimental game every day for 7 months, 119 days, 219 experimental games. And by doing rapid projects, you're able to stumble upon things, could have sat about and strategized about because there's just so many factors. It's a great way to put some ideas down. It's a great way to get it out of your system so you can move on to the next. Because the idea you've got that's really great, that'll maybe buried 15, 16 deep, but you can usually only see the top 2 or 3 at a time. Writing it down does not get it out of your system. You gotta build it. There's obviously no shortage of ideas that in theory sound great, that in practice not worth anything. If every time you have an idea, you've got to put it through a multi-year cycle of polish, you can't advance the thinking. You're 3 years behind by the time you finish. I spent a year at Electronic Arts. I got impatient. I got restless. And when I left, this stuff just exploded, right? A few hours a night, I'd put together another experimental gameplay idea. Interactive poetry, something of making friends, show your gameplay experience as a visual. There's things that we can't know until we've seen it in implementation. To get it implemented, we have to be willing to just throw things out, just throw things away. And then some of it led to my full-scale iPhone games. Tumult, Feel For It, Burn It, and Wobbly all kind of came from those game-a-day projects. So even though I only spent 6 hours programming Feel For It, I spent 7 months doing it. Without those 219 prototypes, there's no way I could have come up with what the foundational engine's interactivity was. Feel For It is about that sensation you get from realizing you're doing something to get better at it. You've lost track of why you're even doing it. You just keep getting better at it because it's something to get better at. We don't question anymore whether or not it's worth doing. Partnerships to work with really talented artists, really talented sound people. Unexpected things come out of it. Topple was a product partly with working with John Nesky, who was an expert in physics-based gameplay, and could not have happened without John Nesky's helping to build the core play. Also, I try to involve dead creative contributors. I'll source writing material from public domain, and it's just one more paint your palette. Alice in Bomberland. This is built based on Lewis Carroll's Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. Ideas about writing, his ideas about education, his satirical perspectives on the world. Transcend is built around
Walden by Henry David Thoreau.
Doubles as a criticism of video games that aren't an interactive system, or that don't play to the fundamental essence of what makes a video game what it is. A lot of these things wind up being like cartoons with frustration added between being able to see the next scene. And for this reason, I've often strayed really far from narrative. The narrative foundation becomes what the mind makes of the system. I want something that changes the way someone thinks about something. I don't care if they ever come back to it. What matters to me is that their mind goes back to it. There's an audience out there of refined taste, who've grown up and spent their entire lives with these things, who are eager to find something different. Let's start challenging people. Not challenging their dexterity, but challenging the way that they think about things, the assumptions that they bring into it. That's really what my work's all about. I want to contribute to the quality of thought in the world. DeLeon, I make a lot of stuff.